The podcast is my pulpit, and I am ready to preach the raw truth. Join me as I discuss real life, love, and teach you all the lessons I've learned along the way. Welcome to Lakita's Room. I am your host, Lakita Brewington. Hello, and welcome to Lakita's Room. I am your host, Lakita. Today, I want to talk to you guys about something that could be a bit uncomfortable for some, but I feel like it's a good topic because I know I'm not the only one who has gone through this situation. This week makes 3 years since I've been divorced, and I felt like it's something that it's necessary to talk about because there is a certain loss that happens when you're divorced because you're grieving the death and the loss of that relationship. Even though that person may still be on the earth, what you had and what you experienced together is dead. It no longer exists. So there's a grieving process that takes place. And I do realize that others may be uncomfortable to talk about their experience, but I feel like I have to be, and I want to be transparent. I feel that if I'm honest with you all about the things that I've gone through, I feel like that can help you if you may find yourself in that situation, or even some of the things that I've gone through. You can learn from the lessons that I'm giving you so you won't make some of the same mistakes that I've made. I will also say before I continue that none of the people that I reference along my journey is in any way intended to bash the other person. It is presented from a pure place and simply given as a point of reference to help you grow. Okay. So today's topic is dating after divorce. All right. I met this guy in college, my junior year. I was headed to class and he was coming up the stairs and we locked eyes for a moment. Now, I don't know if you all believe in just fairy tales, if you will, but it's kind of like time just it stopped. We locked eyes for a moment. There were no words exchanged. We just smiled at each other, kind of waving at each other. And that was it. But I remember thinking he has a beautiful smile. He looked very confident, very sure of who he was. And that really made me pause and think, who is that? You know? So I went to class and that was it. Fast forward, I graduate from college and I go back to campus and I run into this guy and we exchanged numbers that time and we started to just get to know each other and we found out that we had music in common. He loved music and so did I. So we would literally sit up all night and just download music. I don't know if you all are familiar with LimeWire or Napster, but that's what was popular during that time frame. So we would sit up all night, download music, and it would take you all night to just get some of your favorite songs. And what I enjoyed about the whole process is you could feel the chemistry between us, but neither one of us acted on it. It was very innocent. There was no hugs, no kisses, no nothing. It was just really just an innocent, beautiful situation, I thought. I did find out later that he had a girlfriend and it was nothing that he kept from me. He told me that. So once he told me that, I put the chemistry and all of that stuff to the side because I would never step into another person's situation or relationship because I wouldn't want that done to me. So I just said, you know what, we'll just be friends. And that's what it was. So after he graduated from college, we kind of lost contact with each other. He got married and so did I. And that was the end of that. So a few years ago, he did send me a friend request on social media and we just kept in touch, how's your family? How's this person? How's that person? That type of thing. Right. So after my divorce, we started to keep in contact a little more, just sharing messages and things. And one day I posted a message about just guys just being creative when you're approaching a female and just not copying and pasting the same thing, just the same generic message that you're sending to another female. And then at the end of that post, I said, be creative and we may just give you a chance. So lo and behold, this guy, he comes in my inbox another way, not from the usual songs and things that we're sharing with each other. But he says to me, I'm really not good with all of the DMing and all of that stuff. But what I do have is memories. I have a lot of memories from us sitting up, just downloading music together. And he says that was some of the best moments of my life. And I'm sitting there thinking after I read this message, okay, sir, okay, and I felt like he was really trying to approach me from a different perspective. Like, okay, he's trying to step to me at this point. So I messaged back. I said, okay, that was very creative. You get points for that. So we end up talking on the phone at this point for about, I want to say maybe about 2 hours, just catching up. It's like we picked off like we never had a break. We're just talking, just catching up. So time progresses, and I end up asking him, is who I am and what I do a problem for you? And he knew that I'm in church girl. I was in church when I met him in college. He had even gone with me to church before we lost contact with each other. But I wanted to make sure that he still knew where I stood. And I wanted to make sure that, because my experience has always been, when I tell a person that I have a relationship with the Lord and that I'm celibate, I ask if they have a problem with that, because I don't want to compromise my relationship with God. And I want to make sure that that is stated up front, because if it is an issue, then I want to give you an out and let you know that you have a chance to walk away if you want to. I state that up front. So I asked him that, and he says, no, I don't have a problem with who you are. And then he asked, why would anybody be intimidated by that? And he tells me to always be myself. He encouraged me to do that. And he says, if others can't get with that, then so be it. You keep it moving. And he says, myself included. And that meant something to me, because I felt like he wouldn't try to change me or to influence me in a negative way. So that meant a lot, that he was okay with who I am. So we continued to talk. He's sharing pictures of his son, just telling me about things that have happened with him over the years. And I just started to think, okay, I can let go a little bit and see what happens. So we continue to talk back and forth. He's sending me songs again. I'm sending him songs. It was really cute. I honestly, I enjoyed having this exchange with this person, right? So as time progresses, we end up having a first date, and he lives in another state, so we had to be creative. Our first date was we did a FaceTime. We did a FaceTime, and that conversation, it started at about 7:30. We didn't get off the phone till maybe 2-3 o'clock in the morning, just talking, catching up. And before we get off of the phone that night, he says to me, I wouldn't change anything about our time together. He says the only thing that I would have done differently is letting you know that I didn't want you to leave. And that just grabbed me. I was like, okay, I can see myself continuing to spend time with this person and just see what happens, right? So it's going pretty good. We're still updating each other. And I knew that he was a busy person. He was telling me about all of the things that he was doing in his life. And I was fine with that, because I'm busy. I have a life too. So it wasn't an issue with him being busy, because I'm not a clingy person. You do you, I'm going to do me, and we'll catch up along the way. So our phone calls and text messages were good initially. And then it kind of just started to fizzle out, I believe. So a few months in, this is about 2 months in at this point, I noticed that things had started to change. And I said something. I said, are you okay? Are things good? And I wanted to know, because I wanted to be sure that he was still interested. And I also wanted to make sure that I hadn't done anything that would kind of make him want to go in another direction. So I'm asking, are you okay? Our conversations have gone from top tier to flatline. What's up? And he says, well, it's just the ebbs and flow of life. Everything's good. And, I left it at that. And for a moment, I said, you know what, everything's good. We'll just see what's happening. So I asked him again, I think later on that day, I said, well, what are your intentions? Because we were just talking about different things. And I asked him this, not because I was trying to make him my husband or make him lock me down immediately, but we're already 2 months in, we're conversating back and forth, the talking stage. So I felt like I had a right to ask that. And then he says to me, well, I'm not looking for anything. That's the only way to find everything, or something along that line. It just felt like you were taking me in a circle. It just sounded like a really just flat answer. That's how I felt about it. So I said, okay, well, I need you to elaborate. Are you looking for a relationship, or are you just looking for a close friend, a true friend? What do you need? And he says, at this point, I'm just looking for a true friend. And then if that leads to something, then fine. So I say, okay, I didn't understand that answer. I didn't really like it either, but that was his answer. So I said, okay, even if I don't fully understand it out, that's your answer. I respect that. So I said, okay, cool. We'll just be friends. So time continues on. And then let's see, we get up to about Valentine's Day, and I get this dry text message. Now, mind you, we've gone through Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's. So Valentine's Day, I get the driest, stalest text message. Yo, happy Valentine's Day. And I'm looking at my phone like, you have got to be kidding me. I've had far more conversations with you and interactions than to get a dry text message on Valentine's Day. Even if we weren't official, I felt like that should have been a phone call, and I didn't get that. So that really made me feel some type of way. And it made me really just sit down and assess the situation. So he texts me, I think about 2 days after that. And he says, I've been slacking on my good morning text. Have a good day. I didn't say anything because I really wanted to process how I was feeling at this point, and I didn't respond. So he texts the next day and he says, have a good day. So I finally just had to speak up and to be honest about where I was in the situation. Okay. I had to just let him know that I just didn't think it was going anywhere. And I wanted to have a phone conversation with this initially. I didn't know his schedule, and I felt like I owed him an explanation instead of ghosting him because we're both adults. So I finally say, at this point in my life, I feel like I deserve to be pursued and fully courted. And I do not believe that's something that you want at this time, nor am I pressuring you to do so. And then I also told him that I would like to leave room for someone who is fully sure about me. And I wanted to make sure that he was clear on that. So he responds, I fully understand. You deserve to have whatever it is that you're seeking. I just felt like it was a really diplomatic, just generic response. So I say, okay, absolutely. And then he tells me I can reach out about anything or anytime. And I'm just feeling like I don't feel like reaching out anymore at this point, because I knew I wanted more. And that's the thing when you get out there and you're dating again after divorce, or even just after you've gone through a breakup with your significant other. There's a level of vulnerability that you have to be willing to go through with. And you have to just put yourself out there and say, hey, I'm going to see what happens. And it took me a while to get to this place because I wanted to make sure that I was healed before I even entertained the idea of seeing another person. So that was a risk that I was willing to take with this person because I already had a connection with him. And I liked what he was doing. I felt like he was a solid guy, and that we'll see what happens, right? So you also have to be clear on what you want. I knew that I'm just not a just a hit it and quit it chick. I'm not just somebody you're just going to randomly entertain. I know that I'm a whole wife out here in these streets. My goal for anything at this point, any relationship that I entertain, is to be fully courted and pursued. And I knew that even before I began to interact with this person again. So I really had to just be honest about that, knowing that I wanted to be married again. I wanted to settle down again. I had to get real with myself about that. Okay. And lastly, you have to be willing to walk away. If it's not what you're looking for, if you see that it's not going anywhere, you have to be willing to say, hey, I'm just going to cut my losses at this point and move on. Right. I think why I stayed around so long is because I desired to have the companionship, and I like the comfort of having someone that I could rely on and someone that I could talk to. Now, let me say we had a lot of great moments because he was around when my grandfather's health started to decline. So when we started interacting on a deeper level in September, my grandfather's health started to decline. So he helped me walk through that process because he had lost his grandfather in a similar fashion. So he was there for me. And I've learned a great deal from him. He's also a businessman. He manages a lot of people. He has separate businesses, and I admired the way that he managed his time and the way that he did life. I really admired and respected his work ethic. So I learned a lot of lessons from him along the way. So I was thinking about all of those things and really just asking myself, do I want to let that go? What about the lessons that you got from him? What about the feedback and the advice and just the affirmation that you have received from him? So I'm thinking about all of that stuff. All of this played a factor in me just staying on a little longer instead of letting just being done in December when I initially thought about it. I just let it carry on for a few more months before I finally just decided that I wanted more. Now, I will say, before I just broke things off with him, I had a dream the night before. I'm a dreamer. God speaks to me a lot in my sleep. So this particular time, I was back in a house that I lived in during most of my childhood up until I graduated from high school. So I knew where I was in the dream. But also this person that was in the dream was someone from my childhood. And they were telling me that they always had feelings for me. This person was just very big on the details. They noticed my hair. They were telling me, I always notice when you change your hair. I notice when you wear things that you don't like. And the person in the dream also said, I knew when you started dating such and such. I'm saying such and such because they mentioned the first name of the person that I was actually entertaining at the time. They mentioned his first name, and that stood out to me before I woke up. Now, before the dream ends, they say, the person in the dream says to me, I'm ready for a relationship. If you want one, I'm ready to. Then I wake up. So what got me is the person mentioned this guy's first name that I'm entertaining, and also just the intentionality. They were really aware of things that were going on with me. Every detail about me, this person was very aware. And that really just gave me the push to go ahead and pump the brakes on this thing, because I started to realize I absolutely deserve to have someone that's paying attention. I deserve to have someone that is fully, completely invested in me and sure that they want a relationship with me, someone that's not going to leave me in limbo. I had already gone through a divorce, and that's not something that I want to go through again. So me putting myself out there to even date and entertain someone else was very risky. So, and I was scared, but having that dream just made me say, you know what? You are worth the investment. And if you cannot get that investment from someone, be willing to walk away. I spent 5 months, and again, I learned some great things, but I also learned and realized that I don't have any more time to waste. We are responsible for managing the time that God does give us. But here's the thing, God does not tell us how much time we have left. You don't know when your time is up. So that really just sealed the deal for me, especially losing the patriarch of my family. It made me realize that no one would be on this earth forever. Okay. It also made me realize that people make time for what they want. You can be the busiest person in the world, but if it's something that's important for you, you will move heaven and earth to make time for that. And another thing that I didn't like, the person says to me in December when I brought up when I'm asking what your intentions are, and they're just backpedaling, just going in circles, saying I don't know what I want. Just I'm not looking for anything. We'll just see, kind of like a go with the flow type of thing. I'm not a go with the flow type of chick. I need you to know what you want, right? So I just I'm at the point now. I don't have time to settle. I don't have time to settle. And this person tells me, I know how to get to Wilson. After all, they went to college in Wilson just like I did. And then they tell me, I could have flown you out here where I am. You don't think I could have done that by now? So I'm just playing all of this stuff back and thinking, you know what? I think you're getting comfortable, and I think you're fine with being just a friend, and that's it. I deserve more than that. And I was willing to walk away from that. And at the end of the day, I want my own. So no amount of money, prestige, or connections that a person has is enough to make me stay where I'm not fully invested in. And it was never about the money for me. He's very well established, but that was never an issue for me. That was never the thing that I had at the top or that I wanted. I was genuinely interested in learning more about him as a person. And I thought that it would work just based on the conversations that we had. And he was saying, just telling me about his past and saying, I hope the things that I've done won't prevent you from getting to know me as a person. I really thought that he wanted to see what would happen as well. And it turns out that it didn't work out. But I have learned from that situation that it's okay. Sometimes things will work and sometimes they don't. But I'm thankful for this experience because it let me know that I deserve it and I'm worth it. And I wouldn't change that situation because I learned a lesson. I learned that it's okay to pull the plug. I learned that I don't have to settle. And I learned that it's okay to want more. That's what life has taught me at this point. I'm in my 40s now, listen, and being divorced. I don't have a lot of time to just backpedal with this thing. If you're not sure about me, go find someone else's time to waste because I don't have any more time to give you. And I'm okay with that. You have to get to the point of your life, Will, where you're clear on what you want. And if you're not getting that, it's all right to walk away. Life taught me that. I always settled because there is a certain level of submission that women are taught where we just have to just bend and mold and be flexible to whatever the man wants. And that's true in regards to being married, but you still have a voice. You can be submissive and not be a pushover, right? So I was just thinking, just still thinking as a wife, well, maybe I just need to wait this thing out. No, nope. I woke up. I woke up and I realized, hey, it's okay to be done. All right, you guys. So I hope that you have learned something sitting in this room with me today. All right. Be clear on what you want. Be willing to put yourself out there and be willing to walk away if it's not working for you. I'm thankful for the lessons that I've learned, and I am thankful for the experiences that I've had in my life so far. I'm very thankful for all of it because I know if I can grow through what I've gone through, so can you. All right, you guys, until next time, I will see you back in Lakita's room. We'll talk soon. And that's a wrap. I have completed my very first podcast episode. Was it perfect? No. But did I get started? Yep. I told my social media followers last week to stop waiting for things to be perfect. Start where you are, use what you have, and trust God to add the increase. If you want to follow me, I am on all social media outlets at Lakita's Room, and I hope to see you guys soon. Take care.